Where is Christ in dislocation? Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 23-24. Am I a God at hand, declares the Lord? Am I not a God far away? Can man hide in secret places so that I cannot see him, declares the Lord? Do I not fill heaven and earth, declares the Lord? Matthew 28:22 states, I will be with you always, even until the end of the earth. Who among us felt a deep dislocation in the past 2 years, the ever-present halt to progress in the next stage of our lives? In this time of uncertainty, we can live with the absolute assurance that Christ is with us. Of course, we may have our doubts. He is never absent despite our situation or shortcomings or endless struggles. As human beings in today's world, we look for instant gratification. We don't want to experience the pain and learn to cope with it. God is both massive and mighty above all creations and is intimately aware of all. In Psalms 139, verse 7, David said that God is everywhere. In the darkest days, we look to him to provide solace and comfort, that he will come through for us. Christ is our anchor. He loves us very much. He gives us just what we need at that particular time. Our relationship should intensify with joy that our needs will be met in his time. We look around the world and watch the devastation with so much violence. We ask ourselves where he is. Why is he allowing tragedy to happen to us? How can Christ be with us when the world is hurting everywhere? How can a child fight cancer and know that God is with them? How can a family survive after a loved one have died from COVID and know that God is with them? How can a minority being discriminated against because of their race, ethnicity, and gender? No matter how far we think God is from us, he is always in our midst. He is always in present. God lives within us. Christ knows our needs and never pushes them aside. Many of us are hurting, question God's existence. Their faith and judgment are predicated on seeing him and not believing in him. He lives within us. Our lives are like a homemade knotted quilt. If you look at the backside of the quilt, all you see is a mess of knots and loose ends hanging all around, all over it. It is very unattractive, and it seems to be systematically no reason for the works. Yet when the quilt is pulled over to the other side, you can see the maker has craftily woven together each strand to form a beautiful creation, much like life of belief. We live with a limited understanding of things of Christ, yet a day is coming when we will know and understand all things. So where is Christ when we hurt? When in hard times, know Christ understands and sees your needs and your pain. He will never forsake you. When you have no strength or support, know that when you can most fully rest in the presence and know that his strength is made perfect in all his glory. Can we agree that Christ lives within us? Can we agree that Christ is omnipotent? Who do you know on earth is always available 24/7? Time is precious. Remember, he knows all things in the world. He created the heavens and earth. I remember a time of question his whereabouts after the death of my grandfather. My grandfather and I were very close. He spoiled me to no end with his funny jokes and peppermint candies. But darkness came to visit me when he died. I questioned God about his whereabouts. Why have you come to the aid of my grandfather? Where were you at his time of need? Are you not the God who is with us? Are you the God that will not forsake us? Of course, in my pain, I questioned his presence. But over time, I asked for forgiveness. I knew my selfishness was not in his plan. I knew that God was with my grandfather at the time. My father told me that my grandfather accepted Christ before his passing. Clearly, Christ was with him. Therefore, I knew that he was present for my grandfather and me. God is everything, everywhere to us. Our meditation prayers bring us closer to God as he manifests within our presence. We can have a comfort to know everything is okay. We may have doubt about his presence, but he has never have failed us. Have you ever walked through a garden, a forest, hike a mountain, or watch a sunset or sunrise? Did you ever feel his presence? Is there a connection between you and God when you experience those things? Is it the most beautiful experience that one can feel, but there are times of darkness, but God is still with us? Today, God's Spirit lives within those who believe in him. We do not need to go somewhere special to seek his presence, but are called to worship him and live guided by his Spirit that lives within us. We may sense God's presence in a special emotional at times, yet God is present at all times and in all places and in each believer.